I guess I can greet them. We will get started shortly. For all those, as you guys come in, and let us know. Getting a couple more things ready. Sorry for the delay. Um, but my computer has been doing some jumpy stuff, and so I don't want to fight with it too much, going back and forth between the links, which I need to pull up. So trying to get everything on the screen um, as easy as possible. I guess I can always. I think I got all the stories which I need. Hold on a sec, and then I'll get us started. Okay. All right. Clear that off. Clear this off. And okay. Now, if it doesn't freeze me up too much, then I'm able to come back. We'll start as soon as I'm on the screen. There we go. I'm here. And so we're going ahead and get started. Tonight's show, we're going to talk, or show, class, whichever way you would like to say. So, Jose, can you salute us in, sir?
Hello, Yahweh, Shema Mashiach Yahushai. That is all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son Yahushai. Shalom to all the 12 tribes. Hope you're doing well. How are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. Let me get my other headphone in now. Get the show started. Hopefully my fan's not too loud. It is a little bit humid. So tonight's show.
Sure. It sounds a little bit windy. I'm not sure if it's me or not. I'm gonna mute myself.
It's probably my fan. See, Hamza's in there. It says Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Shalaikum Shalom. And we always,
I think it is me. How that's weird. It's never
no,
really done.
my fan. It's my fan. Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mine. It gets a little warm in this kitchen. As you guys know, that's the secret. I'm not in some magic studio. That's it. I'm just a broke young, humble man throwing a green screen up. Nothing fancy to my operation here. But tonight we're going to talk this article that I ran across. I don't know if it's a new article or not. I don't think it's that new, but I saw it and I wanted to talk about it a little bit for various reasons. The fan noise is not annoying. Okay, thanks, Hamza. And Hamza sent some interesting stuff earlier, which is kind of crazy how that's how I know sometimes when the spirit wants you to talk about something and deal with it. I saw a story and I had something else in mind that I wanted to talk about when I hit up Jose earlier today. And this Trump evangelical story popped up. And as I'm, reading the story and kind of going over it and thinking about, all the different points which I took from it that I want to bring up and point out. I got some from Hamza also that dovetailed in with some of the stuff that I didn't even know how I was going to tie together, because another channel which I follow, which is a secular channel, sometimes some of the stuff he be saying, I don't know exactly what he be thinking exactly or what his worldview is entirely, because occasionally he does go to the scripture, and I'm gonna pull up the scripture which he uses. I won't show all of it. I'm talking about Amazing Lucas, as you guys can see in the thumbnail when you clicked on it. And then I want to talk about, because he covers some stuff with Matt Walsh and Larry Elder, which Hamza sent me something about later in the day. So for all of these things to be lining up together, it tells me obviously this is what we need to be talking about. So without further ado, I will put this on the screen and start reading this article. And I just think it's emblematic. And the reason, I guess I'll start with this before I even put this on the screen. It's emblematic because if you think about in this country, basically you have red MAGA versus blue MAGA, which is pretty much controlled predominantly by the dominant population in America. So you got, the dominant people group over here, the dominant people group over here, which have controlled this country, which have subjugated the masses for centuries. This is them already being divided against themselves. Then you have, let's add on a little bit more, you have that same people group being divided as far as the atheists versus religious. And then this is where this comes in, where it gives a little bit more of a crack in that whole little plan here, which is very interesting, because I never thought that I would be seeing this. Now we're starting to see a division even between evangelicals, the hard rock base, basically, which is kind of through hook or through crook has kept this nation kind of in the place it's been and has guided this nation in the direction it's been going. So let me find this first article and we'll read a little into it. It's not a very long article. I mean, if it starts going into some nonsense there, but it says, and this is from a pastor. This is from NPR. It says he was a top-notch church official who criticized Trump. He says Christianity is in crisis. Let me turn my mic down a little, and that might help with the fan noise too. Let's hop down. This article. Who cares? You guys can see the people there, and it says people praying during the Evangelicals for Trump event in 2020. It says he criticized Donald Trump in the Southern Baptist Convention's response to a sexual abuse crisis. Then he found himself on the outside. Who was he? Russell Moore was one of the top officials in Southern Baptist Convention. When Donald Trump's case came on the scene, Moore criticized him publicly and found himself ostracized by many other evangelical leaders who embraced the former president. Moore also criticized the Southern Baptist Convention's response to sexual abuse crisis, as well as what he viewed an increased tolerance for white nationalism within the church. Now, we've always known there's been white nationalism within the church, but I guess now it's being more and more emboldened in these latter days, and more of these pastors are having to reckon with it. Did you want to hop in, Jose, on anything?
I do have a precept in mind, but I think...
Oh, sure. No. Don't hold it. You can fire away if you need to.
Actually, nah. I'll hold off on it. It's not ready. Not the time yet. It's too early.
Okay. Suddenly, in 2021, Moore found himself resigning from his post and on the outside of a denomination that had, up until that point, defined his life. What's the big deal? According to Moore, Christianity is in crisis in the United States today, which, honestly, if you look at the numbers in Christianity, across the board, it's been dropping. I mean, it's still the strongest in the Black and brown community, but as a whole, it's been declining, and especially in the white population, the amount of people who are becoming atheists, or some kind of other, new age faith has been, speeded up exponentially.
Hi, Vicky.
Oh, Vicky's in the building. Hey, Vicky. Um, So let's hop back in. It says Moore is now the editor in chief of the Christianity Today magazine and has written a new book, Losing Our Religion, an altar call for evangelical America, which is his attempt at finding a path forward for the religion he loves. Moore believes part of the problem is that almost every part of American life is tribalized and factionalized, and that as extended to the church. And like I said before this, setting this up, I kind of never really saw it happening in the church, but it is starting to go that direction. Um, and the kind of funny part about it, the evangelical, or basically evangelicals, typically white Republicans. Occasionally got a couple of black and brown people sprinkled in there, but for the most part, it's like 90 something percent, basically white conservatives. Um, I never thought that I would see them have a problem, but I guess with Trump, it is kind of really forced the hand of people and showed some people that politics is more important than their faith. Whereas in the black community, honestly, where I'm seeing the division more than anything is dealing with issues of LGBTQ. Just being honest, I find a lot of the people who, if they don't go into some form of Judaism or Hebrew Israelite or Islam, typically the ones who become atheists, it typically a lot of times has something to do with the LGBTQ, whether they're somebody who's been living, secretly that lifestyle, or, curious about that lifestyle. That's typically where I see more of the falling away in the black and brown community. Would you agree, Jose?
I think where in the black community there would be, like, for church leaders to want to embrace the alphabet community,
Mm-hmm.
there would be like a sort of need to try to just like grab people in general to just keep that money on the silver plate that's being passed around to keep growing.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of that, and not taking care of the community, and more people I do see who are criticizing, where's this money going in the black church? But I've been seeing a whole lot of people who, especially in the black community, that have become atheists. A lot of them is because, it's had to do with, the alphabet group. Hamza says, yes, I agree. Most people who turn out gay are molested as kids. I don't know. I don't know the stats on that. But I do know that's not uncommon. Hamza says chemicals and foods, which I don't. In all honesty, I don't rule anything out. I don't rule anything out. Okay, that's the one screen. There we go. So, I think if we're going to get past the blood and soil sorts of nationalism, or all the other kinds of totalizing cultural identities, it's going to require rethinking what the church is, he told NPR. During his time in office, Trump embraced a Christian nationalist stance. The idea that the U.S. is a Christian country should enforce those beliefs. In the run-up to the 2024 presidential election, Republican candidates are again vying for influential evangelical Christian vote, demonstrating its continued influence in politics. I've always found that, amazing to me, whether it's been this incarnation of the Christian church or ones previous, or going even back into slavery. those people who have always considered themselves people of faith have always ignored what's in the Bible or always perverted what's in the Bible for their own interests. They have decided, I'm going to rob, kill, and steal. Trying to remember, what is that scripture? Because Amazing Lucas brought that up earlier. Is it John 5, I think? John 10 and 10.
I got a precept in mind.
Okay.
And it is from John.
Okay.
What was it that you wanted? John 10 and what?
John 10 and 10. Or actually, you can start 10 and 9.
Book of John, chapter 10 and verse 9. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
So this scripture, I wanted to read that because that is what has happened in this country since these people of faith have came in. They have robbed, stolen, and killed. And whether it's been the evangelicals or the Christians in this country, or whether it's been all the way back to the Vatican or the early European Christians, whoever it's been, that's what they've done. The doctrine of discovery, manifest destiny. That's what they've done. This group of people. So it's kind of funny to me that they've been able to hold this together for so long, and now we're starting to see it fall apart. Let me put it back.
I got several precepts.
Hamza says they are not really Christians. Well, they're not Christians because a Christian is a follower of Christ, and that's definitely not what they do. Because in this article, a little bit further down, something that he says in there is key to some of the things which they deal with. Yeah, they pick and choose. One of the things which I've noticed that most evangelicals care about more than anything, they care about gay marriage and abortion. It's pretty much those two things. About idolatry, they don't worry about that. Plenty of them commit adultery right and left. They don't basically keep any types of other laws. I mean, let alone outside the 10 Commandments. I mean, just within the 10 Commandments, how many laws that they break? I mean, in all honesty, the Christian church virtually keeps none of them. They don't observe the Sabbath. They practice on Sunday. First they change Yeshua, and most don't know his actual name. Yeah, most don't even know his actual name. I mean, if they would at least say Yeshua, that would at least be closer to the transliteration. But most of them, I've heard Christians literally say, I only respond to the name of Jesus.
Now I have 3 precepts.
Oh, go ahead, fire them away.
All right, to the point that you made on they don't keep any commandments. So this is Isaiah 8 and 20. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Yep.
And this is repeated in the New Testament with 1 John 2 and I'll start at 2. And he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Good precept.
Now, when concerning manifest destiny, Habakkuk 2 and chapter 2 and 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, establisheth a city by iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So woe is destruction.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I chose this background. Oh, it's a precept. Another one that I have in mind that I know is going to come up eventually, but that made me think of another one. What is it? Isaiah 14 and 2, I believe. Let me double check, make sure that's right. I think it's Isaiah 14 and 2. I think that's the one I want.
14 and 2. Oh, yeah.
That one and
Servants and handmaids. That's what you wanted.
actually, you know what? Just start at 2, and let's just keep on going on down. Go down to 13 or 12.
Okay. Isaiah 14 and 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pits.
And hop down to 21. Actually, 20.
Verse 20. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renewed. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
And since you just read that one, let's go on ahead and dovetail that one with one of my favorites, Obadiah 1 and 18. I don't know, it's so many that's flown in my mind, so I'm gonna cut it off. This will be my last one. But all of this, y'all have done all these different things, and y'all are putting a judgment on yourself, whether you realize it or not. And the thing about it is, they're so prideful. They're so prideful that if they just came and repented as a nation, it can't be 2 or 3, Can't be twos and fews as a nation. But many of them don't even want to acknowledge that they're a nation. Many of them think they're individuals.
And
So,
their animals should fast too.
yep. And so, therefore, since you don't even want to acknowledge the problem or acknowledge what you guys are doing or have done or make any restitutions for it, you are going to fulfill prophecy. And it's kind of like, how, the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart when Moses was saying, "Let my people go." This is the same spirit. But going ahead with
Oh, now that you brought that out, I got another one.
oh, we going ahead.
All right. After I get your precept in Obadiah, I'll get to mine. Obadiah 1:18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. They shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it.
Yeah, and that just I wanted him to read that one because that's dovetailing what we just read there in Isaiah 14:21 about being cut off and how those sins of the father you have to pay for them. And yep.
All right, here's mine. Jeremiah 16 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. All those precepts came up now, even though I think, and keep them in mind, because you might even want to bring them back up later on. But because especially when I get into this other video, you haven't even seen this one yet. But let me pop this back on the screen and finish more of his article. Actually, this is like an interview I think they were having. It says, I think if we're going to get past the blood and soil sorts of nationalism or all the other kinds of totalizing cultural identities, it's going to require rethinking what the church is. Remember that cultural identities. Keep that in mind when we're thinking about the right and evangelicals and all that. Keep that in mind. Remember this. During his time in office, Trump embraced the Christian. Okay, I already read all that. For some reason, I needed to read it again. In August 2022, church leaders confirmed the Department of Justice was investigating Southern Baptists following a sexual abuse crisis. In a statement, SBC leaders said current leaders across the SBC have demonstrated a firm conviction to address those issues of the past and implementing measures to ensure they are never repeated in the future. In 2017, the church voted to formally denounce and repudiate white nationalism at its annual meeting. See, this is the part I wanted to get to. What is he saying? Moore spoke all these things, considered Scott Detrow, what he thinks the path forward is for evangelicals in America, on why he thinks Christianity is in crisis. It was the result of having multiple pastors tell me essentially the same story about quoting the Sermon on the Mount, parenthetically, in their preaching, turn the other cheek, and to have someone come up after to say, where did you get those liberal talking points? And what was alarming to me is that in most of these scenarios, when the pastors would say, I'm literally quoting Jesus Christ, the response would not be, I apologize. The response would be, yes, but that doesn't work anymore. That's weak. And we need to get to the point where these teachings of Jesus himself are seen as subversive to us. Then we're in a crisis. So what they're saying is these evangelicals are literally, when they used to talk about, oh, sweet baby Jesus. Now they don't even want to hear his words anymore. They're like, man, get that weak shit out of here. And then on how he begins to address the issue he sees, I don't think we fix it by fighting a war for the soul of evangelical, because there is no soul there. I really don't think we can fix it at a movement level. And that's one of the reasons why when I'm talking to Christians who are concerned about this, my counsel is always small and local. He knows better. Better not do it big because he'll get probably carried out of town. I think we have to do something different and show a different way. And I see in history, every time that something renewing and reviving is happening, yeah, blah, 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 that's enough. Anyway, the point. Oh, go ahead.
So, I should start this with Deuteronomy 18:18.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess while you're getting that, I'll say my point real quick. You got to remember, these are the same. These evangelicals are the same people who go back to those people who would get out of church and head straight to a lynching with the pastor there. These are these same people. Because think about it. These evangelicals are the same ones who are walking around in them white robes. These are the same ones who had no problem lynching people up outside of courthouses and dragging them through towns. These are these same people. And I know they'll try to play this whole Democrat versus Republican thing. But you know what? Those Dixiecrats were always conservative, no matter which party. Because what we got to understand is, especially when we talk politics, culturalness doesn't really have anything to do with left or right. Cultural identity. Because, for instance, if we were in Brazil, whether you are to the right or to the left, majority of people there are Catholics. They all hold the same cultural beliefs. It has nothing to do with right versus left. This culture war stuff has always been, whether it's right or left, these people are the same people. This Republican Party are the same as those Dixiecrats back then, or the same people who were either on the plantation, who were owning slaves, or the people who were runaway catching them, or the ones who were working as the overseers, who were sitting on horses cracking whips. These are descendants of a lot of these people. And the ones who say, well, I didn't have nothing to do with that. I came in later. How many of your ancestors had something to do with the Jim Crow era or the segregation? I guarantee you're going to find a lot of these same evangelicals, all of their history goes back to this. Shoot, I can go deeper, but, I digress. Going ahead, sir.
All right, let me start with Deuteronomy 18:18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. It shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. Mm-hmm. That's concerning Christ. So here's what the Most High said in Amos 3:1. Well, yeah, I'll start at verse 1. Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known for all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. And here's what the Messiah says in Matthew 15:24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the words that the white nationalists are saying, it was never meant for them in the first place.
I completely agree. And then I wanted to throw this little thing in here real quick. It's from another article. And if you guys want those articles, I'm definitely just let me know. Or it shouldn't be too hard to find them. Let's put this other one on the screen, because I want to give these numbers real quick. It's pretty interesting, just numbers that we have. And I'll pull this story back up the front. Do evangelicals think Trump is Jesus? That's the name of this one. And this was from May 8th. And here they are praying for Trump. Oh boy. Here, let's get down here. Trump lost. Okay. Trump actually lost Iowa evangelicals in the Iowa caucus to Ted Cruz in 2016, but won an astonishing 81% of self-identified evangelicals nationally in 2016, and only slightly less overwhelming 76% in 2020. So it's showing that the overwhelming majority of these evangelical, these so-called Christians, are following a man who has done nothing but lie, cheat, steal, who is right now up under all kind of different charges, who's known to not pay his people right, who's known to commit fraud. I don't even care about like the charges and stuff that are. I'm talking about even before this, he was committing fraud. I mean, he committed fraud to get himself on the Forbes list. I know because I used to read his books back before he was even on The Apprentice. So knowing who Trump is, I just felt like back in those days when I didn't know any better, I was just impressed on how this man was able to game the system the way he was. And he'll even brag about how he games the system. But I just wanted to pull that up so I can show you the level of support that he still has from these people. So let me drop that down and give you guys a little something and show you how all this stuff ties in, because we already know the evangelicals overwhelmingly support Trump. Evangelicals are, I mean, most conservatives, most conservatives in general, I don't even have to say Christian conservatives, most conservatives fall up under evangelicals, whether they are Baptists, whether they are Catholics, or even Jewish. You have plenty of Zionists that are evangelicals. Now, they might not be Christians. Well, actually, that's not even true, because majority of the support which Israel gets, the Zionists in Israel get, are from Zionist Christians who support Israel and support all the things that the Israeli government is doing. So let me put this on the screen. Listen to a little bit of this. This was from, actually, both of these are from The Amazing Lucas, but I wanted to play this Matt Walsh thing real quick, because you know how plenty of times conservatives will try to push, oh, well, it's not a race thing with us, and we're not racist, and you're just thinking it's that way. I wanted to share this with you, and I want to see how you guys think about this. So let's make it big. All right.
Is delicious. Oh my goodness. So one of the main reasons that I left the right is that I came to the conclusion that they're even more racist than the left. And I think everything that has transpired since then has proven that to be an accurate statement, because this video, this leaked audio of Matt Walsh is, man, it is the chef's kiss. It really is. It is emblematic of all the criticisms I've levied against the conservative right for a while now. And as I've said before, when they mention America or American, they're referencing white people. They're not mentioning, they don't think about Black Americans. That's not what they consider as America, as the poster child of America. They view it as white. When they talk about this country, they mean white people. That's what they mean. Now, they've tried to deny it. Oh, that's not what we mean. We mean everyone. We want all Americans. This doesn't mean if you're Black, white, blah, blah, blah. That's bullcrap. And I can't stand that bullcrap. It's tantamount to when they're celebrating Independence Day and they're like, well, later on, you guys can come on too. It's for everybody. It's like, no, that's not what Independence Day was about. Okay, that's not what it was about. While you had, as far as Black American slaves, y'all were celebrating freedom, and then invited Frederick Douglass to do a speech. This is the type of hypocrisy that is this country. This is the type of anti-Black hatred that is America. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, as long as you're trying to rectify this anti-Black sentiment that has, created very, very strong roots in this country. But even acknowledging that, when it comes to the white conservative, they say, "Oh, why you have to make it about race?" It's like, we didn't make.
And I wanted to stop him real quick, because I do agree they do have a heavy anti-Black sentiment, but I would say anti-Black and brown sentiment that they have, because unless you're touting their message, you find out real quick how much they don't like you, because they feel the same way with brown people too. If you're not becoming a part of their culture, keep that in mind, because remember we talked about it earlier. And this also, crazy how things tie in. And I don't know for everybody out there who's seen it or not. You know what? I'll hold on that note. I'll bring it up in a minute.
Make it about race. Black people, Black Americans, have never made it about race. We wanted to go to the water fountain just like you. We didn't make it about race. We wanted to live in that neighborhood just like you. We didn't make it about race. There is, the litany of things that these group of people have done, and then try to gaslight us into making it seem that, hey, we're the problem, is astronomical. It really is. And in this video, it is gold, because you have this guy who clearly is in an interracial marriage, right? His wife is clearly Mexican, and he's talking to Matt Walsh. And he's like, hey, listen, people can come over here from Mexico and assimilate. And Matt Walsh is like, no. Listen, race and culture.
See what I mean there? They got a problem with anybody who, if you're non-white, this is what these people are about. And it shows that this is about, what we call white supremacy. He says it even better here, white inferiority complex. That unless you assimilate into us and be like us and adopt what we think, you're a threat to us. And that's why I say, because Matt Walsh is showing he got a problem with this guy's Mexican wife who's adopted the white talking points. That's the reason why in the thumbnail I put some of the Black Coonservatives, and it's some Latino Coonservatives also out there. So I wanted both of them represented equally. So here, I'll get back into it.
Are the same. It's not going to happen. Of course, they're going to bring their culture over here. All right. Anglo-Saxons created this country.
Bringing the culture with them. Of course they're going to. Of course they're going to. That's what makes them Mexican. Of course they will. That is not.
I'm saying if they stop identifying themselves as just Mexicans and they start, appreciating the country that they currently reside.
What is the country? America. Well, then what does that mean? If you take away the Anglo-Saxon culture, which is what started this damn country.
Yeah, but
not damn country.
You can adopt philosophies, is my point. So I'm confused by race or culture. Like, what are you promoting?
Both. You can't separate them. They're the same.
And I'm just thinking to myself, are we still going off of this lie? Is this really what we're still going off of? Right? It's crazy, because this video was in 2011, I believe. And I'm like, do people still believe that they created this country? Because that's as bad as you still believing in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus or that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Like, what other whitewash myths, not even myths, just bold-faced lies, what other lies are they still perpetuating? Like, listen, there was no country. Do they understand this? That there was land. That's all there was. And in fact, They were giving away land. They were asking people to come over here and please use this land.
After
and
they
guess
stole
how
it.
they used the land? These mofos were so lazy that what did they use? They used slave labor. And it's crazy when they try to dismiss or downplay the role that labor had in this country. Like, you wouldn't have anything if it was not for Black American labor. And you guys couldn't let it go to the point that you tried to racialize slavery, which was a wild concept. Because they want to talk about everyone was slaves. But there was only one group of people that tried to pin slavery as a good thing, as it was beneficial to Black people. This type of wickedness is the same type of wickedness that I've said before that we see all throughout history. There is a lineage of evil that currently we are dealing with. And I want people to understand what he is saying. When it comes to assimilation, this is essentially just get out. So they want to strip you of your Blackness, of your Black American culture, and assimilate you into theirs.
And like I'll say again, they want to assimilate you. If you are non-white, they want to assimilate you, period. And of course, the emphasis is definitely on, Black people first and foremost. That's where it's at. And then it's the brown people. Now, our Native American brothers, many of them are like, we know you're the damn devil. So we don't trust you. We don't touch you. And more Black and brown people need to start having this kind of like side eye towards them and stop this automatic just trust, especially of these conservatives, because they let us know who they are. And then we watch people who look like us go out there and try to clean it up and make excuses. And that's not really what they mean. I mean, any thoughts you wanted to add in there?
Well, you pretty much said it, but also I just want to emphasize that so-called Hispanics need to do more than side-eye and look back to their native ancestors and realize what happened to them, and also realize on the same level as the Native Americans, they are the devil.
Yep. And so here, let's hop back in, because you started talking about the assimilation. And, that's what I was going to say. I don't know who out there haven't seen this yet. I mean, this shouldn't be a big spoiler alert for you. But the show, the movie that came out on Netflix, they cloned Tyrone. Well, I mean, they could very easily say they cloned Juan also, because this is what they're trying to do. Just like you talked about Get Out, they are trying to work on assimilating you one way or another. And that's the reason why that movie was so powerful. But here, I'll let him continue, because it's a couple more points in here where Matt Walsh kind of clarifies even more so his feelings and how he really feels. So don't let this Matt Walsh guy don't ever let him gaslight you into thinking this dude is not a racist and he is not a white nationalist. He definitely is. In fact, he's not only a white nationalist, he is an admitted fascist. He calls himself a theocratic fascist.
What does this even mean?
That's what he says. I guess he believes in theocracy and fascism, and put that together. Because he's a Catholic. You know those people who don't really read the Bible.
All right, bro.
That's where you get the Brandon Tatums. That's where you get the Coonservative perspective. That's where you get the Candace Owens. That's where you get these Black conservatives, because they have stripped away who they are as a Black person and have replaced that with white platitudes and white concerns. That's why they don't speak on behalf of Black people, but they speak to Black people on the behalf of white people, because that's their job in this country. That's how they have made it to the positions that they are in, by as far as, giving cover for the racist, dominant society. But then the audio gets even better, because then Matt Walsh starts crying about birth rates. I kid you not. All the stuff that I've heard, whether it's Dr. Francis Welsing, whether it's Claude Anderson, whether it's a litany of black scholars, everything. This is the accumulation of all of their work in an audio bite. He's complaining about birth rates. He's like, listen, we're just going to die out. And I'm just like, what? Are you, what? Is he really saying this? Is this really what they're thinking? Because you can always assume, right? This is probably what based on how you're behaving, right? Based off of how you behaved in the past, which is from an inferiority complex, I can now see, how you're behaving currently and probably what you think.
When the original inhabitants of at least the United States of America are dying off because we've decided we're too cool to have kids, then why wouldn't they bring their culture? Because there's a cultural void. What I'm saying is that when we die off, as we have been, we have left a cultural void.
What you think, which is leading to these actions of inferiority, because a group of people who believe them to be superior don't behave the way that these these races have behaved historically. They don't do that. What they have.
And so that's all I'll play of this, because I don't want to play his whole video, because I want for you guys to go and check out the original video. Amazing Lucas, I think he's been doing a great job, amazing content lately. But let me close that one out and show you guys the video, which I did not that long ago. Let's put this on the screen, because how he was talking about the Brandon Tate and all that, and the Kundis Owens and the Larry Elders and the Jesse Lee Peters, and I would throw in what was his name, Manny Diaz Jr. that I put out there, who was trying to strip all the stuff out of the schools in Florida. What's another one? The Ted Cruzes. I mean, even though this one is on the left, I would throw in like a Nuri Martinez and Kevin De Leon out here in California, who were literally shitting on other brown people, talking about the dark, ugly Oaxacas. They're Mexican shitting on other Mexicans, talking about how they're dark and ugly. That's how they feel about their own people. So I'm like, if you feel like they are dark and ugly, then what do you feel about black people? And these are Democrats. But, it's that same colonized mindset, that assimilation that they want. Let me share this real quick. This one, and again, I'll say in this video, shout out to, and the Larry Elder, which he got a clip about Larry Elder. I was going to show that one. I'll just shout it out. Go check out that clip he did about Larry Elder. Larry Elder was on the Breakfast Show lying his ass off. And then on top of the lying his ass off, he got busted up a couple of times by I can't remember her name. Teslin, I think it was Teslin Figueroa. She destroyed him just like she did to, that, what is his name? Vivek Ramaswamy, whatever. But here, put this one on here. And so this is my other channel, my original channel. And for those who haven't checked it out, I've been any of my TikTok stuff, I've been kind of just uploading on over here. Give credit to Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC for unearthing this clip. For those in the black community who are caught up in this left versus right paradigm, I ask for you to check this out.
You liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Oh, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
Oh, no, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has it. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Give credit to them. And he's become one of us. That's the goal, the assimilation. And that came to you from a movie from, I believe, 1976, I think, called Trick Baby. They were letting you know even back then the game that was going on. And so you telling me these black boule leaders don't know what's going on? And now the brown, the Latino ones who are getting into the same hustle. Says Marcus, I think Marcus should show the Larry Elder clip I sent because Larry got rocked. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I have that up. Actually, that's what I'll do. I'll send it to myself real quick. With Tesla. And in the meantime, can you bring this one up too, Jose? This is one thing I want to share because how you had him in there. What's his name? Matt Walsh talking about how Anglo-Saxon culture and America and blah 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 blah. We built up this after you genocided a whole bunch of people and stole it and enslaved other people, and then now try to tell them that they're better off that you did that to them. What is it? Revelation 17 and 1. And I think 1 through 7, 1 through 8, I think. Because they love America so much. And I get it if you were just, okay, yeah, we stole this area, we took it over, it's ours now. But when you tie in that you supposedly believe in the Bible, well, then I'm sure you have to have read this part right here and understand what that's saying. If you don't, then at that point, you should just put the Bible down completely.
You want a Revelation 17 and 1 through?
Yeah.
All right. And you wanted 1 through 8?
Yeah.
Okay. Revelation 17 and 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not. It shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they beheld the beast that was, and is not, and yet is.
Yeah, that was what I wanted. I mean, I'm like, I don't get how they don't get what place that's talking about. It can only be talking about one nation on earth. And yet, for some reason, they can't connect that that's America. I can't believe how many people, like, I've even heard, what's his name? Dennis Prager, who is Jewish, by the way, who is practicing, practicing Judaism, literally said America is the greatest nation. I'm like, if you're supposed to believe in the Torah, and your God that you believe is the God of Israel, that Israel is supposed to be the greatest, most precious place, and you turn around out of your mouth and say America, basically to the effect of saying America is better than Israel, I mean, it makes me wonder, what do you really believe? What do you really believe in? All right, so
I mean, we read Isaiah 14 earlier that the golden city will cease.
Nope.
So he has to believe, if he's practicing Judaism, he at least has to believe in the Tanakh. So what is your God? It's not our God.
Good gracious. This thing won't let me pause. Okay, there we go. Let me pause it. This is the one which, man, why is it freezing up on me? Okay, there we go. Let me go back. This is the one that Hamza sent me. But in all honesty, Hamza, you should have the clip which I don't know if you saw it. The one which Amazing Lucas did is even worse. It's even worse.
It's historic racism.
Let me back it
What
up.
do white people do wrong?
What do you mean? What do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
But if there's systemic racism in this country, which we know it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe there's
No,
systemic
there used to
racism?
be, obviously. When you say, what do white people do? I mean, this is a country that has struggled mightily to get over its historic racism. There was a civil war. There was a big civil rights movement. This is the only majority white country that's ever elected a black president, let alone reelected a black president. The three biggest cities in America are New York, Chicago, LA. They all have black mayors, even though no city has a majority of black population. The president of Harvard is a black female. Martin Luther King in 1966, Charlemagne, gave an interview to the BBC. This is 2 years after the Civil Rights Act of 64 got passed. And he said, I'm amazed at how many positive changes there have been in America in the last 2 years. Why, if things keep going like this, we could have a black president in about 40 years' time. Do the math. Right on cue, Barack Obama elected 2008. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990s.
Okay. Mr. Elder, a quick question. Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system.
Okay.
You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly has some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system. So the question is, you said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in
Okay.
charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time, the system. I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions.
I didn't ask you that.
And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right. And what I'm asking, was it white people? So I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly. Was it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question, white or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Correct? Okay. White Democrats,
most black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people.
Not
too.
voters. I said who's in charge of the system?
Well, who put them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who put them in charge?
Maybe that'll help.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay. But if your argument is that the reason he did it is because of racism, then I disagree. He did it because of
That's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlamagne?
No, you see the level he went through to run from that. And that's how you know. This is when you were dealing these white, I mean, these Coonservatives. This is how you know that they are full of it, because he's running his best from that. He even if, and think about it, most conservatives would be happy to be like, see, it's the white Democrats. He don't even want to criticize white Democrats, even really, just Democrats. Damn, I gotta say the white ones. Damn it, I don't want to say white people had anything. I don't want to say they did anything wrong.
He'd rather blame the black Democrat voters for putting the people in charge.
Yep. And here's like you have any power over the people once they're in office. But he gonna find some way to pin it back on the black people. And this is that assimilation that they want. I mean, and according to, this is that one conservative, this is what he wants. Matt Walsh don't even want this, because he like, yeah, but it's still the possibility that, you know, they can hold on to some kind of other beliefs. It says at least those Hodgkins say white liberals are racist. Yeah, but they won't call out conservatives. Larry Elder is the face of white supremacy. Oh, I agree. I mean, this is a kinder, gentler version of Stephen. He just don't want to, you know, he gonna dance around it. He's like a Thomas Sowell. They're gonna dance around it and always pointing back at the black community. Here, I got one more. I'm not gonna show the whole thing of this one. I'm gonna show a little bit of this, and then we're about to wrap up. But where's it at? Larry Elder. Oh yeah, here it goes.
When I was in the sunken place, that I held Larry Elder at high regard. And it wasn't until I became independent of thought and actually started to second guess and question my beliefs. Because in many cases, both the right and the left are grooming the youth. That's what they're doing. You have the right going to schools and trying to get in debates with people and having these little events. And then you have the left trying to indoctrinate the kids when it comes to the schooling system and the alphabet and whatnot. Both of them are using the systems in place for their benefits. The more I learned about history, the more I actually learned about the data, I realized that Larry Elder's whole thing was to be a stool pigeon for white conservatives. That, unfortunately, is the majority role of black conservatives within the Republican Party. And it's not because it has to be, it's because that's what white conservatives want. They don't want to be told that they're wrong. They don't want to be told that, hey, your way of thinking is outdated. They don't want to be told that, hey, that's a bigoted anti-black perspective. They don't want to be told that what has happened in the past is having a rippling effect in the present and will in the future. They don't want to be told that. Nevertheless, Larry Elder uses a whole bunch of rhetorical techniques and tactics in order to sound intelligent, which he's not. Because once you start to look and analyze the data, once again, I don't believe women, I don't believe men, I believe facts and evidence. Once you start to look at the data, you realize that a lot of his data that he uses is antiquated. It's outdated because he's been doing this. He's been tap dancing and shucking and jiving for quite some time. So no one's ever actually had to call him out on his data. In addition to that, he uses a bunch of platitudes. He uses a bunch of sentiments that, if you don't resonate with them, they're not going to hit. But if you do, which is what he's accustomed to, which is talking to a friendly audience, which is white people, they don't even second guess what he's saying because it falls in line with their beliefs. Now, what Larry Elder did in this interview was a rhetorical technique known as gish galloping, where you throw a whole bunch of data and stats and arguments at the opponent in which it overwhelms them. Now, the benefit of this is that it makes you sound intelligent, but when someone has the time to go point by point, right, in the arguments and the data that you presented and actually look into it, that it falls apart because much of the data, as I've said before, is outdated, it's mischaracterized, and it's just basically lies. And that's what he does in this interview. Now, I will say that Tesin does try to combat some of his, his fraudulent claims or whatnot. But it seems that she was, put on the back burner.
Tell me, what financial system are black people in
Okay,
charge of?
let's
What
take-
healthcare system are black people in charge of? What government system are black people in
I'm
charge of?
about ready to tell
What
you.
prison system are black
I'm
people in charge?
about ready to tell you.
I'm not talking about mayors. I already know that talking point, sir. I go on Fox News all the time as well. So let's not go there with that. I said, what system have we created?
Goodness.
Have we implemented that we have been in charge of? Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to black women?
She fired his
I
ass
beg
up.
your pardon.
His first lie that I thought was pretty obvious to anyone was later on in the interview, when she says majority of people in prison.
But yeah, that's the first couple minutes. Yeah, he said majority of people in prison are violent offenders when 85% of people in prisons right now are nonviolent offenders. I mean, if you have the time to go point for point with these people, it's not hard to destroy them, but they're used to being able to just go out and lie. Keep in mind, Larry Elder is the same man that when he was running for governor in California, he ran on the policy of getting reparations for the former slave owners.
What?
That's what he ran on.
Jeez.
Yes, out here in California, that's what he ran on.
Oh, there needs to be something special given to him when the kingdom comes.
Mm-hmm.
Something special.
No, he go like when things go down. And here's the thing: every time you have these black conservatives, when shit hits the fan for them, and they get rejected from that same group of people who love them, inevitably what they're going to do is try to crawl back to the black community. I mean, and perfect example right now, O.J. Simpson. O.J. never necessarily did this, but O.J. was like, once he got his money, he's like, all right, black people, stay over there. Just stay over there. I'm over here in my white area. I don't need any extra blacks. I'm the only black that's allowed over here. Then after the whole murder trial, then when white America all looked at him as completely guilty, even though he got off, and they still always looked at him and still look at him as a man that got away with murder. Now he's trying to nestle back up to the black community. And this is what they all do. Bill Cosby. When Bill Cosby got in trouble, what did Bill Cosby do? Try to nestle back up to the black community again. Oh, another one. This used to be my crush growing up, Stacey Dash. When she went full on conservative, and then she kind of got alienated. What happened? Oh, she tried to nestle back up and kiss ass to the black community again. She was so enthralled in emphasizing her. In fact, she's half black, half Mexican. She didn't even want to really acknowledge her black side. She didn't want to acknowledge it, and now hey, black community. I mean, perfect example, Obama. A lot of people don't know this, but Obama only dated white women before he married Michelle. So then he's going to run for president, get closer to running for president, run for state senator. Okay, well, now I'm going to get with Michelle. Well, actually, got with Michelle out of college. And then not very long after college, he started getting very politically active. The next thing you know, state senator, running for president. And also he got involved with the Reverend Wright in the black church around that time too. So get himself nice and covered in blackness for a good, decade or so, and then let's run for office while I can use my black card, even though he was pretty much raised with his white mother, and then when she passed away, well, and with his stepfather for a little bit, but which I believe he was what blanking, what was it, Filipino? I think it was like the Philippines. He lived there for a while, or Indonesia, something like that. But the rest of the time, he grew up with his white grandparents, between Kansas and Hawaii, completely alienated from the black community until his adult years when he wants to run for office. Then he gets out of the office. Where do we see him at now? Back to he's literally out in Maui in that same crust of people. Hamza put here, Jason Whitlock, Suki Hana is black culture. No one in the black community likes her and promotes her. Plus, these record companies are run by. Oh, we know who the record companies are run by, and we know why. If you want to, it's a reason why Common is an actor. It's not because he's not a good rapper. Not because he don't have quality music, but he can't get to that upper echelon in that proper promoting unless his music got a little bit more negative.
If Obama's father is from Kenya, doesn't that make him a Hamite?
Yeah. See, and so basically, we'll make him, first black president, but you know what? He's still not, he still doesn't have any kind of foundational black, or he don't have none of that kind of. In fact, his family comes from the other side of that. He got slave owners in his pedigree. And the same thing with Kamala. Kamala got plantation owners in her background also.
I find it so ironic that somewhere, I forgot where I heard it from, but like every single past president has slave owners in their family except Trump.
Yeah, it's weird. But the only reason why is because Trump's ancestors only came into the country not that long ago. But you know what Trump does have in his background? A father who admired Hitler and Mein Kampf. So, I mean, they might not have been around for slavery, but I wouldn't doubt that there's some hoods, some white hoods in his background. So, don't let anybody fool you by that talking point because, his family only got here in like the 1920s. Don't let none of that fool you at all. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I know about that. It says, I'm sorry, but Cornel West left us with. Oh, of course, Cornel did, but he doing his thing, and so, I mean, at least he don't, give the stiff arm to the black community. I mean, I'll give him that. See, his brother Malik says Obama is gay, and according to Malik, he says Michelle is the same. Michelle Obama married first. This one is I know, but I mean, since I can't prove it with 100% concrete. I just kind of stay away from it. I've heard the rumors. I saw the video, stuff bouncing around in the pans. I saw it on Ellen. Yeah. I've heard the song. Michelle's a man. Yes, I know. I heard, what was it? Joan Rivers talking about Obama being the first gay president in transsexual relationship, and I heard and people saying that that's the reason why gay marriage got all. I know, I've heard it, and I don't know. That's a whole nother topic for another night. But yes, and Obama does share bloodline with the Bushes. For those who do not know. But, this is what we're dealing with. This is part of the whole Boule class. You don't get ahead unless you shuck and jive for one of the parties. And if you look even on the Democratic side, any of those who are in prominent positions, show me who's not part of Divine Nine. And if y'all don't know what the Divine Nine is, y'all need to get to some research. Look up the Divine Nine. Look up the Boule class.
Truth Unedited has great videos on those.
Mm-hmm. So, y'all got your homework if you don't know. But on that note, we are going to close it out. We appreciate everybody for hopping in here. And Jose, sign us out.
Kal Hala Yahweh, Ba'ashima Mashiach Yahushai. That is all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahushai. And with that we say, Shalom.
Shalom.